Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Williams Return to Glory. In this episode, we go to the best racetrack in the world, Paul Ricard, and then we go to the Hungaroring, where we are going to lap the real-life F1 calendar. From the pit crew screen, seems like we're in a bit of a competition with Mercedes to see who can have the best pit crew with the least amount of mistake percentage and the most amount of stamina. But we're going to go through and rotate these people real quick. Alright, so after we've freshly rotated everyone, looks like we're still behind Mercedes, but highest mistake percentage is on the part fixing. Everyone on the car has a 0.6 or a 0.5. Alright, so from the mail screen, we have stuff about the last race in Austria. We got an interview with Will Buxton. Apparently works for F1. Lewis Hamilton's agent has been telling reporters all over town that you're interested in signing his client up next season. Is this true? Yep, we're going to just say absolutely to everybody. And it looks like Lewis is open to discussing terms. So from the headquarters screen, we have just got the design center to the max level. From other upgrades, we don't have many things still on the table. We have the test track for the engine, and then we could build the road car factory and now the theme park. I think potentially, and this might be a good idea, just bite the bullet on the test track. That's going to help us with our helps us with getting these legendary engines for potentially next year. And yeah, just with the 26 weeks, that should be done, and that'll be a thing, an option on the table for next year if we need to get these engines all the way up into to legendary. So we're gonna actually invest that money now. Alright, so from the sponsorship screen, I went through and just looked at the current sponsors available, did some math, and I wanted to point out that we have currently 4 stars with our marketability. Out of these 3 sponsors available, Rich Energy pays the most. Only thing is I don't want to put Rich Energy on the car, so I am thinking potentially we can, because this is only going to be $3 million bucks, and then 120,000 across the races. That's like $360,000 that we're going to be missing out on if we sign a deal. This pays the most, but I'm thinking we let this expire and then we get brand new roles for these 3 sponsors, because I want to get a 4-star that maybe gives just fixed per race. Alright, so from the mail screen, we have a story from the race. We have Daniel Ricciardo once out at Aston Martin, so it looks like his exit from McLaren to Aston did not go so well and he wants out, so potentially we could see him moving teams next year. But we have a message from the FIA president about choosing a vote, so I am going to look at the votes and kind of see what we can consider here, and then I'll come back to you when I make a decision, or if I decide not to do anything. Alright, so from the choose a rule screen, we are going to select safety car only. I actually got rid of, unbeknownst to me, I actually got rid of both virtual and real safety cars, because I thought that going for the other option, which is full course caution only, means that the cars slow down a little bit, but they don't ever go to a safety car. So I think for next year, having safety car only is going to get kind of those crazy situations where we can utilize a safety car or be disadvantaged by a safety car is better than just having the safety car and virtual safety car. So we're going to go with safety car only. Alright, so getting ready to leave, we are going to Paul Ricard with Ponos, our usual 15-10-10, and we've not changed anything with the parts. Alright, so looking forward to the practice session here in Paul Ricard. Since it is a home race for Théo Pourchaire, we're going to put him in the car for this weekend for practice alongside Vettel. We're going to focus on the soft tire, and we're just going to see how it goes. Alright, so following practice, Théo Pourchaire finished 11th, and then Sebastian Vettel finished 4th. top of the board was Max Verstappen. Alright, so getting ready for qualifying, we're going to put both of them on super soft tire level 1 and quali trim. And then for the setup, we have some work to do with Vettel. We didn't spend too much time focusing on the setup. We just kind of loaded it in and sent them out because with long lap times, typically that works against you getting very high levels and 2 different things. But anyways, on to qualifying. Alright, so Albon starts his lap. We're going to focus on sending out Vettel. Alright, so Albon's still on his lap. We're just going to see what he can do here. And we're going to leave him in the garage for later in the race, or qualifying. Alright, so he finishes there. Vettel's going to start his lap. Got a Ferrari right behind him, so that's going to potentially add to his time. And Sebastian's going to cross the line and go 8th. Alright, so Albon starts his final lap. He's in 18th currently. We have Vettel in 8th currently, so at least Vettel's in the sponsor objective. They're both up first sector, they're both up second sector. Let's see where they place. Albon stays 18th, and Vettel drops all the way down to 9th. Alright, so on the grid for Paul Ricard, we're going to go with level 3 soft tires and level 3 race trim. Looks like it's going to be fairly simple, one-stop race. The super soft tires are not going to be durable enough to make it past halfway. And with kind of how hard it is to keep tire temperatures in control, we're going to be mostly on conserve for most of this race. But looking at the driver strategy, this is going to be what we're going to use coming off the line, and then we're just going to monitor what their tire temperatures are doing. But we'll move on to the starting grid. Alright, so your starting grid for the French Grand Prix is going to be Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton, Pierre Gasly, George Russell, Sebastian Vettel, Esteban Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher, Valtteri Bottas, Guan Yu Zhou, Daniel Ricciardo, Dennis Hauger, Alex Albon, Kevin Magnussen, and Lance Stroll. Alright, so we got the 5 red lights here. I'm liking that a lot of these guys up front are only running soft tires, so that's going to be bad for them later on in the race, especially if they need to hit 2 or more times if they go onto the softs again. I guess if they go on the super softs, they're going to just do a 2-stopper. Alright, so our tire temperatures are starting to raise up here. We're kind of like, almost like pushing on our tires to get them to wear like this. Got to keep an eye on the fuel delta, make sure we don't go to the 1 lap down. I think we can make the 0.7 work here. Hopefully next year when we're designing the car, we're actually able to focus a little bit on getting the fuel efficiency up a little bit, because we had to trade some of that off for improvability. Alright, so it looks like we have a decent gap to Mick Schumacher behind us. I'd actually be quite worried about some of these people on the medium tire just not stopping this race. I was tempted to try it with Vettel, but we don't have any knowledge to kind of help the pace with it. But we do have a trait with him for kind of making the tires last. But if that didn't work, it would be a very kind of fall flat on your face kind of strategy, where you pit at the end and don't really get much gain out of it. A little bit of game stutter there. That was not cool. Albon is still in 16th. Alright, fuel. We're going to put the fuel on a medium here. We have to keep these guys on conserve for a long portion of this race. It doesn't quite cool down the tires quick enough to just put them right back on neutral. Yeah, so we're going to want to pit probably on lap 18, which it looks like we're going to get to pretty comfortably. But, yeah, just wish we could push a little bit with these tires, but I think this might aid with our tire wear. This will aid with the tire wear. Alright, so we're going to go on to one-time speed here. We're going to put Albon and Vettel onto neutral, and we're just going to let them kind of go at it a little bit. We're going to have some people pitting here. They're going to fall back behind Albon. Yeah, hopefully later in the year when we get some other parts done, or specifically after when we finish this engine, we're able to kind of focus on kind of getting those parts ready to go, and we can put them on Albon's car. Alright, we saw 6th place there pitting. Maybe these guys are going to make it to the end of the race. Vettel's all the way up to 5th. Alright, we're going to be on conserve here. We're getting too hot in the tires. Vettel's up to 4th. Looks like Leclerc and Verstappen were able to pit and jump ahead. I think we're going to keep Vettel out just for maybe a lap or two. Just so he has fresher tires near the end of the race. Go to about lap 20. A little bit of a lopsided strategy. We'll do the same for Albon. Alright, so we'll let them push this lap. Alright, we're going to have Vettel pit and go onto the soft tire. Balanced on the pit stop. And we're going to wait for Albon to go around. We're going to pit him onto the soft tire as well. And we'll actually do a safe stop just to make sure, because he tends to be the one that gets all the problems. Alright, and when Vettel comes in, we need to make sure that we turn him down to neutral. Same for Albon. I'm on to neutral. Actually, we'll have these both conserve. Have them on backup. I didn't mean to do that. We're going to have them conserve. We're going to have you conserve. We're just going to have them conserve right until the tires look like they're getting cold. And then we can just have them go on neutral for a long period of the race. So it looks like we're solidly in 7th place. Looks like Norris and Gasly are having some pace issues. We're going to focus on Albon for a little bit, see what Albon's doing. Albon is in 19th place. Looks like Stroll and most of the people in the medium tires ahead of him are going to have to pit. So hopefully here, when we have him conserve for a little bit and we put him on a neutral, he's able to cut or do an overcut on the strategy here. Albon's pace is very, very frustrating. Alright, so with some of these guys looking like they're going to pit, we're going to put both of these guys on a neutral here just to pick up the pace just a little bit. So we had the pace to pass Halger, Ricardo, pretty much everyone ahead of us, I believe. But hopefully when these guys pit, we're actually able to get ahead of them, and we do. So we're up to 16th for Albon. Vettel is in 7th. We got Vettel closing, or sorry, not Vettel. We got Norris closing in, but he's got older tires. Alright, so we have very hot tires. We're going to actually have Albon back up a little bit, just to get some of that heat out quickly. We're going to go on to high engine mode while we do this, just to kind of pad the gap there. We're going to go to about 0.05 on the fuel. Alright, we're going to have them both go on medium, neutral, and neutral. Alright, so we should hopefully get ahead of Hauger here. Hauger's on a lot older tires than we are. Alright, it looks like Vettel has Norris way far behind him on the soft compound of tires. We got people pitting. Got Russell who just pitted onto the soft tire. Looks like we need to focus back on Vettel a little bit here. Hopefully Vettel can hold off a charging Mercedes on fresher tires. 2 laps to go here. Hopefully we see some others pitting or just dropping off the face of a cliff. Alright, we're going to have both these guys go on high on the engine mode. Vettel is in 6th place. Alright, we get up to 5th place because Perez has an issue. We're going to go on medium, and then we're also going to do the same for Albon with medium. But Albon has not gotten ahead of anybody. Vettel is still in 5th. We're going to have him conserve just a little bit just to make sure he can keep some of that wear here. Vettel's going to cross the line in 5th place. Albon is still in 15th place behind Ricardo. He's going to finish there as well. Alright, so the final finishing result for Paul Ricard. We had Alex Albon finishing in 15th position. Still, very disappointing. I'm hoping that once we get some of these better parts in, we can kind of see him come up here, but yeah, I don't quite... Yeah, I understand why he might be so far down with the parts differences we have, but I want him to get closer. Your points standings, or your points finishers, actually, are Pierre Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Lando Norris, George Russell, Sergio Perez, who looked like he had some sort of issue going into the first corner. He was wide, and that's how we got by him, to get Sebastian Vettel to finish in 5th, which is our best finish ever in this career mode. Behind... front of him is Lewis Hamilton, your podium, Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen, and your winner, Charles Leclerc. So following the results of Paul Ricard, Mick Schumacher, him finishing in 9th, getting 2 points, moves him up to 14th. Vettel gains a whopping 10 points, so he goes from being 20 points at the start of the weekend behind Alonso to being 9th place with 30 points. He is actually in reach of Pierre Gasly. At the top of the board here, we've got Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is within 2 races of Leclerc as he moves ahead of Hamilton. Hamilton is still within 2 races, so Hamilton kind of dropping off here after a string of penalties and some other bad luck coming his way. But Verstappen coming up close, but Leclerc standing strong on top of the board. So the Constructors' Championship, we are 6th place. We are now 3 points behind Alpine. We've absolutely just been charging up the grid as of late. Just exponential growth just very, very quickly. Once we got our first point, we had 1 bad race, and then we've had this consistent string of results. I think this is race 6 now. We've scored points. So, yeah, we're looking... we're eyeing 5th place now for the Constructors' Championship. Alright, so following Paul Ricard, we lose $222,000. Remember, we have a missing sponsor. Alright, so looking at our pit crew, we still are 2nd place. We're just going to go through and do some rotation and potentially hire some people. Alright, so we've rotated the crew, still 2nd. And we hired 1 individual into the rotation. This is the percentage here, and then this is our bench. Alright, so from the mail screen, we have stuff about Verstappen on top in practice, Leclerc qualifying, and we have an interview with David Coulthard. Which one of our drivers is better? We've gotten this question a lot. Vettel. Alright, so we have a new vote, which is the safety car only, which is what I chose. So I am going to, potentially, as we have 3 people here abstaining, and I like to just do this for good luck, I'm just going to vote, I'm going to abstain. You know what, I'll vote 1 for. And we'll skip to end. Alright, and it is approved. Alright, so from the part improvement screen, we are just going to focus on these parts here. They're the second best in everything. just because we don't really have anything to do, we're gonna just load up our reliability as well on some of these parts, because yeah, we already maxed out like all these parts here. You see, we don't have an option now to improve these, so um, we're just gonna have this backed up a little bit until we're actually gonna get our newest part in, which is the engine, which will take a couple days, I think. But yeah, this is what we're doing, and we're gonna move forward. So looking at your Formula 3 results, you have Lucas deGrassi winning and getting the fastest lap. You have James Headley finishing on second on the podium, and you have Patrick Pasma third place. You got Hulkenberg just outside the podium there. We're just going to scroll through these results really slowly. Looking at the championship, Hulkenberg has a massive lead over James Headley. And then you've got a pretty tight battle here. I mean, I'd say from second to fourth is fairly close. And then you got pretty much from fifth all the way back is fairly close as well. In the team championships, Carlin is pretty much far ahead of Campos. Got a decent spread here between Campos, ART, and Prema. And then they're very separated from fifth through seventh, and then you got like eighth and ninth battling for the wooden spoon. Alright, so getting ready for the Hungaroring, we're going to put Ponos on the car like usual. Our tire selection is going to be typical 15-10-10. And then looking through the part selection I just went through, I didn't change anything, but looks like Albon has the better parts for all of these, so we should hopefully see him do good in this race. But we're going to go on to Hungary. Alright, so looking forward to practice. We're going to put Albon back in the car for practice. It looks like he's missed the last two races. His form's been pretty low, so hopefully this helps improve that. And then we're going to put the soft tire on, and that's going to be the setup for practice. But we'll join you after we have finished practice. Following a bit of a mixed weather Hungaroring practice, we are 11th, 13th. Top of the board is Charles Leclerc. Alright, so getting ready for qualifying. We have qualifying level 2 for Albon and Vettel, but sweeter spots for Albon, and then the soft tire doesn't matter. We're just going to send out Vettel, and then we're going to immediately box him in just to get a view on his setup. We just had to do some tweaking on his stuff, but it should be good to go for the race. But we're going to go on to qualifying. Alright, so Albon's going to start his first lap. We're going to bring in Vettel, like we did last week. We're going to check his setup. His setup's fine. And we're going to send him out on a flyer. Alright, Vettel is on his lap. Let's see what he can do. We're going to try to send out Albon 2 times. Alright, let's see what Vettel places. Vettel will go 7th. Alright. Let's watch Albon. We're going to have Vettel sit in the pits. Alright, let's see what Albon can do. Let's up his first sector. Up his second sector. And he doesn't complete the lap. Alright, we're going to send out Vettel now. Alright, so Vettel rounds the final corner. Albon is going to be very close and does not make it. But we're going to watch Vettel here. He's going to be down in both sectors, and he will remain 7th. Alright, so on the grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix, it is raining currently. It is damp, but we're going to have this little wet spot in the beginning, and then it's going to dry out pretty quickly. And then we're going to have a dry spell, and then it's going to be intermediates at the end of the race. I am going to have both cars stay out until it starts to dry off at about lap 12, just because that water level looks like it's going to favor intermediates, at least for that little bit of time. and then we could pit onto the dry tire, so we're not doing a dry stint on dry tires on a wet track, and then we switch over to dry tires. Hopefully we can gain time during that, or AI cars who are on dry tires, which looks like all of them are, lose out a bunch of time, and then we're able to switch over to the soft tire. Try to make that last until it starts getting wet out, and then we can just straight pit on intermediates and make it to the end of the race. Car setup wise, we got perfect on everything, about 98%, and then this is our driver strategy, and we're going to move on to the starting grid. Alright, so your starting grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix, we have Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Sebastian Vettel, Dennis Hauger, Sergio Perez, Valtteri Bottas, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Guan Yu Zhou, Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon, Esteban Ocon, Mick Schumacher, Daniel Ricciardo, Kevin Magnussen, and Lance Stroll. Alright, so here are the 5 red lights. We're the only car on the grid with intermediate tires. Let's hopefully see this work out for us. Be good either way if people start going off the track or if they pit here. Hopefully it just stays dry enough to where this is a good decision. Oh, and Albon has crashed out. That is immediately unfortunate. So we have a full course caution here. We got a VSC. We're going to have Vettel just cool it till we hit about 2 seconds. Pause. And we're going to have him go attack and push. It looks like Vettel's holding steady here. It's going to start getting more damp. I thought I saw somebody pit there. It looks like they did not. It's going to get more and more wet up until it's going to dry out. So hopefully we're able to kind of gain while it starts getting a little bit more wet. Alright, so we need to conserve the tires a little bit here. So we got dry tires behind us and Russell. Alright, Verstappen has crashed out. So that's good for us as well. It's going to move us up a spot. It's going to take somebody out of contention here. Alright, it's still damp, so we're just going to hold position here. We're going to go on neutral. We're going to keep an eye on that fuel. Fuel is at 0.6. When it gets to 0.7, we're going to just put him onto neutral. We can push on these tires because we're going to have to pit pretty soon. Because once it starts to dry out, we're going to put on these soft tires. Looks like it's ticked over to where it's a little bit too wet, but then it's going to immediately start drying out, and we should see some cars going faster than us. Alright, we got a little bit of wet. A little bit more wet. We're going to wait until the pace starts to drop off a little bit. Maybe go an extra lap or two more. Alright, so this looks like about where we're going to want to pit. There, hopefully our pit stop is not terrible. We're going to come out. We're going to be immediately on neutral. Alright, we're in 10th place, which is good. We got Joe in front of us who's going to have to pit. Looks like we have Tsunoda and Gasly who are not. Alright, hopefully we can make these last until later in the race to where we can kind of switch immediately onto intermediates. I would have liked to maybe put on mediums, but I didn't have faith in them. Plus we could have the stat to get these soft tires to work because we're going to be faster in the dry conditions. We got 8th place Alonso behind us, championship rival for Vettel here. He's got the softer tire on. Looks like he's also making it last longer than us as well, which is slightly concerning. Hopefully when Tsunoda and Gasly have to pit, it's a detriment they're not going to be able to make up. Alright, looks like we're gaining more time as the track is getting drier and drier. Alright, looks like we're not going to be able to make it just on a one stop, but we are hopefully going to make it longer into this run than we're expecting. We're not going to pit onto a dry track with intermediate tires. I don't ever see that as a usable strategy. Alright, we're going to look to hopefully see Sonoda and Gasly pitting sometime soon. Our tire wear is, or tire temperature is kind of creeping up there. We're going to have them go on a conserve just to hopefully get us near that that window where we can just do a straight switch from dries to intermediates. So Gasly's pitted. He's all the way down to 10th. He's about 10 seconds behind us. We are in 6th place. Looks like we're going to also pass Sonoda here. He's going to probably box this lap. Alright, we need to turn Vettel back up on neutral. You're up into 5th now. Need to make these things last. Looks like we are going to make these last until the intermediate range. So hopefully we see people like Leclerc and all them pitting. So Leclerc pits. He's not going to fall back into our range here. We're going to go actually overtake on the engine mode just for a little bit. Let's go down maybe like 0.2. Just gain some time here before we get ready to pit onto the intermediates. We're going to go on the medium now. Alright, it's going to start raining about this lap. I need to see actually how long I got those intermediates to last. They lasted about 12 laps. We're going to keep Vettel out 1 lap extra. Alright, so we're going to pit Vettel onto intermediate tires. We're going to have Vettel out on neutral. We're just going to hold him on neutral here till the end of the race, probably. It looks like Gasly and Sonoda are going to lose a bunch of time here. So we're going to be in 5th place on strategy and pace, which is good to see. So we're just going to hold neutral here, and hopefully, is that a problem I see for Gasly behind us? Yeah, Gasly has a part that he probably is going to need to fix here. So we're going to focus on our race as it comes. With us being so far behind Norris, I think our best bet here is to just kind of wait till the tires get down near cold, and then we're going to push a little bit. We're going to put him back on high. We're going to probably push him to about 1.1 over. Because maybe Norris is going to have to pit here in this last couple laps or so. Alright, now we're going to attack a little bit. Hopefully gain some time on Norris. Hopefully Norris has to pit. And hopefully we can stay ahead of Gasly. And Norris is not doing good on those tires. But I don't think he's going to be close enough to where we're going to be able to catch him if he does pit. And Gasly pits. So we're going to be in a free range to focus on our own deal here. Alright, we're going to push. We can also pick up the engine mode. It's like here we're able to pit and, or be able to use some of that engine mode. So, we're in an attack to the line. It looks like we have a solid 5th place locked up. Norris pitted and was able to put on the fresh tires. I should not have pushed. We are not even close to the last lap for ourselves. We're going to go high. We're going to use up as much as we can. Go on a medium. Leave it on conserve. And we're going to cross the line for 2 5th place finishes. Alright, so good news, bad news for the race. Bad news is Albon crashed out. Bad news for Verstappen, good news for Leclerc. Verstappen crashed out as well. Looks like the points are going to have George Russell in 10th. Bottas, Gasly, Alonso, Sonoda. We back up our best result that we got in the last race with getting another 5th place finish. So we are now up another 10 points. Alonso scored 6 points, so I believe that's going to put us ahead of Alpine, but only by about a point, maybe. Yeah, then you got Norris in fourth. You got your podium, Leclerc, Hamilton able to finish ahead of Leclerc, and then you have Carlos Sainz winning the race. Looking at your Drivers' Championship, Sebastian Vettel moves up to 9th place. He's now 1 point off of Gasly, 10 points ahead of Alonso. Looking down, you've got Valtteri Bottas overtaking Schumacher, tying him and beating him on the tiebreaker. You got Yuki Tsunoda moving up, looks like 3 positions here, as he gets tied with Hauger, but it's going to beat him on tiebreaker. Got, like I said, Vettel forehand. You got Sainz moving ahead all the way up to 4th place, ahead of Perez and Russell. You have Verstappen dropping behind Lewis, and Lewis still maintaining a within a 3-race gap of Charles Leclerc. Looking at the team's championship, we are currently 5th place. We have now ticked over into the top half of the grid. We are 1 point ahead of Alpine. We are 109 points behind McLaren. But yeah, I was not expecting us to even be here, and we have 10 races remaining. It's pretty crazy. All right, so for those interested in Formula 2, you got Nick Tandy winning the race, you got Yuri Vips on the podium, and you have Esteban Mason on the 3rd step of the podium. Just going to scroll through these results really quickly. Looking at the championship standings, you have Jehan Darvala top of the board. Just a whole pack here of Daruvula, Tictum, Armstrong, just all very close together. You got a decent pack from pretty much 4th all the way down to 18th. And then you've got this little scrap down here in the back, and then you've got these 2 drivers down here who have not done much of anything. At the team championship, High Tech close up tremendously on ART, as the championship battle for the top step is now only 2 points separated. Looking at 3rd through 5th, that's a pack there. You've got 6th all the way down to 9th, and then you have Charus far off enough from Carlin that doesn't look like it's going to be super possible for them to get up there and challenge them, and then far enough ahead of Campos that they're not going to be sweating. All right, so that's the end of the episode. We have moved up to 5th in the constructors, which is amazing. We had 2 races where we had Vettel finishing 5th place, bringing home 20 points just in this episode. So we've doubled our points total, and we have gone on a scoring streak of, let's just double check. Barcelona, we didn't score points, but we scored points in Monaco, we scored points in Baku, we scored points in Montreal, we scored points in Silverstone, we scored points in Austria, we scored points in France, where we finished our best that we've ever finished before, and then we finished 5th in Hungary, which ties our best result, which we just had in the previous race. So yeah, we have been incredibly good as of late, but only with Vettel. We need to figure out kind of what to do here with Albon to get him up there. You can see that we just got the new engine in, which we aren't going to check out. We'll leave that for the next episode. But yeah, if we're even able to get Albon to half of what Vettel is doing, I mean, we're sitting very pretty for this year and next year. So if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that dumb YouTube stuff, and I hope you have a good rest of your week.